Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Voice in the Baltic Star. It is still good evening, just about. It's all my fault. If you're expecting to be here earlier, it's, yes, bedtimes are much longer in my household with my girls right now, and yes, it is what it is. And luckily, I've got three wonderful friends here who have spent that time practicing their role playing skills. They've developed as people and as characters and as role players in that time, and they've been warming their dies between their manly thighs to ensure good, strong rolls for the entire evening for your pleasure. It is Saturday night, and on Saturday night we play a range of games. And one of the things we play that we love is what we're playing tonight: The Adventures of Tony and Rudi. We'll talk about that more in a minute. See, Rudi is perfectly poised, ready to go. That's what we like to see. If only the other two were quite so skilled. if, it, if it's your first time, we are a chill, relaxed stream, especially on a Tony and Rudi night. What we want you to do is find yourself a hot drink or maybe a wine or a sherry, maybe, and wrap yourselves up in a duvet or a blanket. Light the fire, why not? Turn the heating up just a little bit. Snuggle up, grab your cat if it'll allow you, or your dog, or a child, as long as it's yours, and settle in for a wonderful adventure this evening, set in the 1930s. If it's your first time, we're going to run a couple of hours or so. We'll take a break in the middle because we're all old and we need toilet breaks. So feel free to be here for as long or as little as you want. If you want to chat, please chat. We try to make sure our chat is friendly. QP is chatting already, which is absolutely magical. 3-0 GR is here for the first time. Hello, come over from Legitimine Games himself. I've heard he's a fine graphical artist. So, a little birdie told me. And if anyone else comes in and wants to chat, you're more than welcome. We will chat if we're not busy as well. You can lurk if you wish as well. And often things that are said in chat spill over into stream. We're quite interactive. We like to break the third and fourth walls. And we just want to have a nice time and include you all in it. There's a red sun there. You can click to spend some points. I don't know what's available. I turned the lizards off. It felt wrong for the 1930s.
That's fair.
But we can celebrate John. There's a few bits and pieces we can do there. Have a click through. The important things for you, the viewers. Boon to be wild. If you want to give them a bonus dice roll, go for that. You can name an NPC. You can do that, and they're in the game forever. So, especially if your knowledge of 1930s Austrian names is up to scratch, then please feel free. Or any name will do. Have a click through, see what you like the look of. Most of them have descriptions, as they all do. I couldn't hear Rudy's. I'm invincible then. That's a bit concerning. That's rather. Hang on, let me see what's going on. Don't tell me the sound is off. There's no point if the sound is off. What is the point to this entire thing if we can't have I'm invincible? You might as well just all go. Don't care anymore. We're all going. But anyway, let's before we go, let's introduce who is on stream this evening. Just flashing around there because I was trying to sort of blurp out and couldn't. First things first, my name is Luke. I'm in the top right-hand corner. Hello, I don't know why it's doing that. Whoa. Hello, I'm here in the top right-hand corner, and I am your storyteller, the dream weaver this evening. And I can only tell a story as well as the actors treading the virtual boards, and they are treading them below me, but only physically, not emotionally, for their emotions and their skills are far above. Especially my brother from another mother, the Floofmeister General, the housewives' favourite, the floofiest man in Faversham. It is the wonderful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, Luke. I'm good, thanks. I'm very excited. I'm low-key excited for another Tony and Rudi adventure. Hopefully with less time travel.
Well, we'll see. It's still early. You don't know. I don't want to give away the plot points.
I was trying, but
it's possible. Rudy's well into the occult. He could accidentally open up some rip in time, and you could be time traveling all week, for all I know. So I'll leave it open to the three of you. speaking of Rudi as a character, Ewan, who do you play? A brief description of your character in this evening's tale, please.
I play Gaston de la Rue, who is a Frenchman, French-born, um, currently working for a newspaper.
Mm. He is a he's a wonderful man. What do you say his great skills are?
Well, he's very good at chatting to people at either end of the social spectrum. I think that's the way that we described it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not too bad at driving, though we didn't get to practice it much in the snowy slopes of St. Moritz. But he did develop a little bit of new skill, and he's apparently quite good at seduction as well.
Never in doubt. You see, viewers, we like to keep to our real life counterparts here, and he's just described himself as well.
Except I can't drive.
Moving on to a man that I find very seductive naturally. He's our guest for the evening. He's a revered friend, someone who we absolutely love having on the channel, an all round favourite. He is a mighty, mighty bear of a man. He is as a Greek god carved from marble, with the world atop his shoulders. His body is a temple. His mind is a pantheon of excitement. He is the wonderful John. Good evening, John. How are you?
Good evening, Luke and boys from the Baltic Star. I am doing great. It has been a lovely, great era in my life. Everything is going swell. Can't complain. Super excited to be embodying the great body of Rudi Otto today. That's not my cue to tell about my character just yet, right?
You can give us a little brief intro about him, about, maybe where he comes from, what he likes to do.
All right, all right. The brief story is that Rudi Otto is a German-born, caravan-raised, bona fide bare-knuckle champion who actually became a pro boxer in his 20s, raised an official rank of 9-0, and then whilst accumulating lots of wealth, especially by people betting against him. He took his fortunes and followed the road of academia, which it is the lifetime that he found the most fascinating, especially learning about the history of the world. And afterwards, he met his counterpart in solving crimes, Tony Guerrero, and together they've solved quite a lot of crimes, uncovered quite a lot of secrets, saved quite a lot of virgins and babies, and saved cities from being burned, and many other great triumphs. And after his latest darkest era, where he delved deep into occult, can I say the latest news for my character now?
No, we're going to go into that in a second. I'm excited about it, though.
Yeah, this is that's all for now, folks.
Oh, we'll leave that on tenterhooks. We're very excited to find out about Rudi Otto briefly. But one more person we need to introduce first. Just in time, the Monktails have joined for the most hallowed of introductions, because we are welcoming the smartest man in any room who lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. And everywhere he goes, he's flanked by half a dozen topless, heavily oiled Austrian men, all with the same accent as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is the wonderful, photogenic Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, excellent evening so far, and very much looking forward to some serious Tony and Rudi action.
Tony and Rudi actually is always very, very serious. Of course, there's never room for humour or levity. Definitely none for brevity.
No, we don't do
But,
that. As a stream, we are not known for that.
but who are you known as in this game?
Well, I play Tony Guerrero. He is an Italian emigre to the UK, where he theoretically lives, though he's barely ever there, and works as an academic and researcher at a museum. He he has a deep interest in the unexplained, in the mysterious and the phenomenal, but mostly he likes padding his resume with stories of heroism and daring do, which allow him to recant them in bars and restaurants all across Europe and eat for free.
Exactly. He's certainly eaten and drunk his way through many fine restaurants and bars over the time that I've
Indeed.
known him.
Yeah. Yes. He is particularly fond of his fine collection of trousers, and he uh, throws himself with great enthusiasm into adventure, knowing that this is an age for heroes and he should be among them.
Um, I'm sure everyone else will be interested to ask how many pairs of trousers has he brought along for this current trip?
Um, 6 turned out to be sufficient last time, so it'll be 6 again this time.
Well, let's hope that 6 is indeed sufficient this time around. You've got to remember last time that was sufficient because time kept resetting all the time.
I know that's true, which meant that in reality he only needed 3. So I'm hoping that this time 6 will be enough functionally.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Shall we delve into the latest Tony and Rudi adventure?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the right response. As always, we are using a homemade world created from the magnificent Those Dark Places game from another John, friend of ours. I'll get the book during the break so I can show it. He's got loads of new releases coming out, and we love Those Dark Places. Quick and easy, and it's sci-fi horror. And we've made it 1930s, so it works for a lot of things.
Mm.
So get those D6s ready, friends. Get them nice and warm. Settle back, everyone. I hope everyone who's watching has their glasses filled, or at least half filled. Stroke your cats. Monocles on, even if it's a dice monocle. And here we go. It is 1:20 p.m. on the 9th of March, 1938, 3 months removed from the academic symposium held at the Carlton Hotel in St. Moritz, where esteemed archaeologists, museum curators and historians, Tony Guerrero and Rudi Otto, gave what was reported in the Ce Soir newspaper as perhaps the finest and most captivating academic lecture of the 1930s. Of course, the reporter was a little biased. What was less widely reported was their role in the killing of Nazi Party agent, reporter Julian Peters, sent to uncover any information as to the whereabouts of the mysterious and mythically powerful bracelet of Mary Magdalene, whose powers Tony and Rudi came face to face with aboard the SS Cannes on its fateful trip across the Mediterranean earlier that year. The truth behind the powers of the bracelet, and indeed its current location, has been the talk of many cafes, bars and lecture halls since the events of the SS Cannes, not in a small part thanks to the famous and much-loved actor Jean Durand, who was tragically killed in the Petit Grand Hotel on the night of Friday the 3rd of December 1937, along with his wife Nancy and half a dozen other guests, including the famed hypnotist, mentalist and illusionist. We miss him already, the great Bauman. It was with great daring that our heroes Tony and Rudi, along with their young and dashing colleague Gaston Delarue, former heir of the famed Delarue vineyards, sadly destroyed during the Great War. They were able to corner the killer Julian Peters and shoot him dead just before he was about to kill another man, whose identity has remained officially unknown in all police reports since. After helping the police with their investigations for several days, our three heroes parted ways, as is their style. However, in early February, Tony and Rudi both received invitations to attend an awards evening in the city of Vienna, on Friday the 11th of March 1938 as the honoured guests of the esteemed archaeologist and Egyptologist Monsieur Henri Canard, the man whose life they saved from the cult of Artemis now 3 years ago, ironically aboard the Vienna Express. Inviting his saviours to an event where he was to win an award about his research into ancient cultists in the city that shared the name of the train on which they saved his life from cultists was an irony that had certainly not passed Monsieur Canard by. He had arranged to meet our heroes at a rather splendid cafe overlooking the beautiful and famous Danube River on the Wednesday to spend a lazy coffee and wine-filled afternoon chatting about their shared experiences on the Vienna Express and at the symposium where they had all given well-received lectures. Despite being well aware of the news surrounding German interest in uniting Austria and Germany under the Nazi banner, on arrival in Austria, Tony and Rudi had both still been rather shocked at the increase in border security and the questions as to their purpose in Vienna. The city itself has indeed changed since their last visit some years ago, with definite tension palpable throughout the streets that had once rung to the music of Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, Bruckner and Strauss. Indeed, on the first sighting of the mighty Danube, perhaps being overcome by the weight of such musical geniuses, Tony had not been able to resist from humming a few bars of Strauss's Beglue Danube. The cafe's frontage itself was picturesque to the extreme, with Tony and Rudi sharing an appreciation for Monsieur Canard's taste regarding places to slowly get drunk and share memories over an afternoon that was looking to be bright and relatively warm. Café Kaufmann seemed to revel in the sunlight, and the Danube behind gleamed in its still but beautiful beauty like a classical watercolour. As soon as they walked in, they were greeted by a waiter who offered to take their coats over to the well-appointed wall of racks, and then suggested they may enjoy a drink by the rather grand bar, as we can see on the map, until Monsieur Canard joined them. Henceforth, they'd be taken to their table for their long-awaited leisurely afternoon. A rather bohemian decor gave the large room a relaxed, creative feeling, unsurprising as the cafe was well known to be a regular haunt for academics, artists and thinkers. Large plants were dotted around in impressively decorated pots. Mirrors and paintings from local artists filled the wooden panelled walls, and numerous lights hung almost chandelier-like above a number of the polished round tables. The entire rear end of the cafe was refreshingly uncomplicated, with large glass windows allowing wide, expansive views of the Danube, interrupted only by a peaceful-looking jetty, a smattering of lazy motor launches puttering up and down, and, directly outside, the patrons sipping coffee and reading newspapers at their tables. Despite it being a popular venue on a pleasant day, the cafe was only around half full, with the barman explaining to our heroes that they'd just missed the early lunchtime rush, and that locals and regulars would steadily start to gather as the afternoon drew on. Still, for an unimportant Wednesday in spring, a cafe of this size being half full at this time certainly wouldn't give its owner a reason for concern. As the two men sat and drank at the bar and made small talk, a familiar figure approached, taking the seat next to them. However, it was not the jovial figure of the Egyptologist that asked to see the cafe's finest French red wine. Instead, it was the rather slenderer, youthful figure of Gaston Delarue, arriving a day early for their planned meeting. So this is where we rejoin the ongoing adventures of Tony and Rudi. Three friends, together again with drinks in hand and the promise of a long, luxurious and entertaining afternoon ahead. Nothing could be better. Tony, Rudi, Gaston, your glasses are filled. The barman has quietly made his way down to the end of the bar. Maybe it's time for some friends to catch up a little.
Gaston, you're early.
Mr. Tony, Mr. Rudi,
Oh, Gaston, willkommen, mein Freund. Come, sit, we have such news to tell you. You see,
Grab a
hope
chair and a
Rudy
schnitzel.
Rudy is obviously sunburned, and you've met him up close with a beard. Now he has he's saved, but with a large mustache, perhaps the one that you've heard rumors that he had. And he's gained some weight, and but he seems a lot more smiley and sunburny and brightly dressed. He wears a white suit, a white round hat, and maybe like a vest made out of crocodile skin. He's also waving a white fan because he's sweating quite a lot. Uh, Probably because he's sunburned quite a lot. He also carries a big bag next to him.
You're looking much more cheerful than the last time I saw you.
Ah, yes. Natürlich, my friend. Why should I be? Because now you are speaking to a decorated and very, very successful and profitable author. He opens his bag and he slams a tome into the table, and you read the following: Ringside Rituals. A boxer's grapple with history's hidden forces. Written by Rudi Otto.
Congratulations.
Immediately pick it up and sort of start looking through it at the dedications. Just checking.
It's quite self-centered, but you will find honorable mentions at least to both of you. Probably more so to Tony Guerrero, of course, many mentions. But generally, if you read like the back tome, it's a self-polarizing book about a boxer who turned historian, who turned occultist, and he does include both stories about that you have experienced, but about the Mary Magdalene's bracelet, about hypnotism, and many other stories that you may not be quite familiar. Maybe some of those he has recently experienced over at Australia, or he has just researched without the experience at all. It's a mixture of biography and fiction, and yeah, it's quite a handful, but it's probably out of a famous publishing house.
Congratulations.
Thank
Turn
you,
to the
thank
back
you,
and
thank
find
you.
the index and look up Tony Guerrero and find that it says next to it, page 301. And that's it. It's like, I'm sure it's excellent. and hand it to Gaston.
Thank you. He'll flip through the pages. The curse of the stained trousers is surely looks like an interesting chapter. He laughs and puts the book down. I jest, but it looks something to be truly proud of. Congratulations.
Yes, it's a culmination of a lifetime of curiosity, rather, I should say. Of course, it has some very, very important mentions about the two of you, but the very essence is for those who are trying to dig deep into the core of the mystery of who Rudi Otto truly is.
A personal journey. Fantastic.
Full of historical facts and rudimentary occultist speculations, of course. Naturally.
Yeah. And Gaston, what have you been up to in the few months since we last met?
Well, I had a wonderful few weeks. I took some extended vacation time in in San Moritz. Got to know Sylvie a little bit better.
Okay. Good move.
Oh. I
Well,
don't see a ring into your fingers. Haven't you married already? That poor girl.
no. That's it's in the past. It's in the past. We'll
Oh,
she
you're quite a humanizer. You handsome
no.
devil.
I was more than happy, but she took some exception to the amount I was working recently, should we say. I was given another piece which is long overdue. Actually, I'm dreading a call from the paper, and he holds up like a briefcase, and it's clearly got some weight to it. These are my notes. It's a thrilling. I've just been enthralled. I haven't been able to get my head out of it. In fact, I was not now, of course, but I was wondering if I could get both of your expert opinion. I presume you've heard of the famed pilot Amelia Earhart
Mm.
and her disappearance.
Yes, there has been quite a story, the talk of many news outlets and people all over the world, even in Australia, where I spent this last few months. It was quite an infamous story. He takes a quick look and searches to find.
Yes. The paper, of course, wanted they're just some puff piece, but the more you dig into it, the more enthralling it is. I just haven't been able to put it down, and actually I haven't been able to put much down on paper either. Hence my hopeful consultation of the two brightest and most daring men that I know.
Wow.
Yes, that is quite true.
I'm liking the and he gestures towards the crocodile skin coats, Monsieur Rudi. It's a wonderful piece. Did from Australia?
Yes, it's from a real crocodile, quite fashionable there. He waves his fans and tries to cool off his sunburned cheeks. You see, I also loosen the beard, and I'm back to my owning my great moustache.
Indeed, you're putting me to shame. It's a fine moustache. It's a fine moustache. Perhaps one day. What have you, Mr. Tony?
Well, I took the opportunity after leaving Switzerland to take on a sort of hobby project. You see, I have long been of the opinion that Shakespeare's play As You Like It was in fact set in Belgium. And accordingly, I set off to Liège in the heart of the Ardennes to prove my theory correct. And I spent a few quite happy months exploring the area, looking for landmarks, clues, references, anything that would interest me. And I wasn't ultimately successful, though I put that partly down to the way that I mostly limited my search to the sort of restaurants, bars, and cafes that line the River Meuse in the centre of the city rather than anywhere else. But at some point, I may return to it.
There is a moment that, as you're sort of gesturing, as you know, as I may return to it, the barman is serving the drink of a gentleman behind you, one that none of you recognise. The guy raises a glass and he sort of sneezes slightly. It's a spring sneeze, and the glass in his hand shakes somewhat, and some liquid pours in your sprays in your direction. Tony, could you please roll an agility check for me, please?
Oh, so
My
early
God.
on.
So it begins.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
That's D6 plus 1, isn't it,
It is, yes.
for me? I suppose I can't add daring do to this, can I?
No, this is not a very daring thing.
It's a 4.
Oh, you're not quick enough to move Rudy's book, and the wine splatters all over Rudy's wonderful book, the copy of Ringside Rituals, a boxer's grapple with history's hidden forces, is sadly splattered with half a glass of red wine.
Oh,
Oh no, Tony! Why did you get heroically in the way of this catastrophe?
it was the book or the trousers, and you know how I feel about the trousers.
Well, who is this man who dared to destroy this copy? If it weren't that I had a full bag of them, I would be ferocious now, like a tempest about to erupt. Who are you? Reveal thyself.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'm just I'm a nobody, sir. Honestly, I promise you. I just came here for a drink in my lunch break. I'm a regular here. The barman can vouch for me. I'm so sorry. Please let me buy you all a drink in apology. Please. I'm so sorry. I'm not making trouble. You look like fine gentlemen. I'm so glad it didn't go over your wonderful white suit, sir. I couldn't help but hear Australia. Wow. And he's babbling. He's nervous. He's worried about upsetting you. He's taking a look at you, Rudi. You're a big, strong, strapping man after all.
Mr. Rudi, perhaps there was no ill intent behind this man's actions. Clearly this book is of no use to you now. Why not present the gentleman with a signed wine-stained copy? It'll make for a good anecdote, if nothing else.
She will certainly feel much worse when she knows which book whose book he destroyed. She throws gently, but still throws the wine splattered book at the table of that man who sneezed. What is your name, young man?
First, can you roll an agility, please?
Okay. That's a 4 + 2, 6.
You sort of throw the book with a bit of a heavy thud, and it manages to knock into the wine glass, spilling the wine over Tony's pair of trousers.
No.
Oh,
God.
amazing!
Oh, no, Tony, that wasn't on purpose, I promise.
That on the other hand is a much more unfortunate occurrence.
My 5th best man.
No, what an unfortunate series of events. You, sir, he points at the man, you began this avalanche of misfortune and wine spilling. You are the one responsible for this tragedy that bestruck upon us.
I'm sorry, sir. He gets up. He drains whatever's left in the glass, and he grabs the book, and he looks to see that the door is safely behind him. And he says, "I'm sorry, sir. Maybe thank you for this wine-stained tome, sir. Perhaps the other sir would give me his wine-stained trousers," and then quickly runs out the door, off to
What?
work.
That's not very gentlemanly. He didn't even exchange his name. Come back, you coward.
The doors, the double doors on the entrance of Cafe Kaufman, swing open and shut behind him as he scarpers out with the waiter who stands by the door, looking rather confused
Barkeep,
at him.
Barkeep, present yourself to me.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sirs?
That man that he was drinking next to us, he said he was a regular here. But
He
who
said he would
is...
vouch for him.
Um, well, sir. I can vouch for him, sir. He is a regular here, sir.
what's his name?
His name, sir, is Felix, sir. Felix.
Felix means lucky.
He got out of here with a free book, sir.
He did, luckily.
And all his teeth.
Exceptionally
Yes,
luckily.
And quite a book. He opens his bag and puts another tome on top of his desks and says, this one is, I don't know if you know it, but you are in the presence of the great Rudi Otto, the writer of Ringside Rituals. Boxers grapple with history's hidden forces.
Oh, sir, you're the Rudi Otto, sir.
Finally, a man with taste. And yes, of course, I am the great Rudi Otto.
What an honor, sir. I've heard everything about you. How you single-handedly stopped the Vienna Express from destroying Bern, sir. The one who single-handedly ensured that no disaster happened aboard the SS Cannes, sir. The one who gave an incredible speech, a symposium in St. Moritz. You're truly a hero of mine.
Yes, there are many of these my great accomplishments, mine and my colleagues, of course, here in this book, especially chapter 4 through 6. Perhaps you will be blessed of receiving this tome. Should, of course, you insist on buying us our next round, then.
You can put it on Felix's tab.
All three of you, please roll a charisma check, please.
Oh, I forgot this one.
Ewan, you can have chat of all trades. John, you can have a.
I don't need anything.
It's
I'm
going
already
to be an
eight.
easy. It's going to. I was going to make it an easy one for you because he loves you.
It's already 8, so
Ooh.
there was no way he would fail that roll.
That's good. What was that, Tony?
9 for me.
9 and Gaston.
Mine's a 6 on the dice, plus charisma and
lots.
chat of all trades is an 11.
Ooh. Oh.
Of course, sir. I can offer you a local gossip beer, a Stiegel beer. I've got a nice Riesling, sirs, nice white Zweigelt red wine. Or, sirs, we have some absinthe in today.
Ooh, some absinthe. I've heard it about this one. I haven't really tried it before. It's the one that you partake with sugar.
You do, sir. You do. Just we tend to leave knives away. There's rumours of a famous artist who removed an ear after drinking too much. It's all rumours, though, sir. I'm sure you'll enjoy every minute of it.
I've tangled with poisonous wines from indigenous tribes that have done nothing to me. I reckon this very drink of yours will be nothing more than a sprinkling water. An absinthe for me, please.
Very good. And you, Miss, I have to say, Monsieur. We're in Austria. There's no Messieurs in Austria. And
Only
and,
her.
only and you, sir. He looks to you, Tony.
The quality of Austria's wine has become known throughout the world, so I shall have a Bordeaux, please.
Very, very good, sir. Very dry, unlike the Bordeaux. And you, sir. He looks at Gaston.
Make it 2 absinthe, please.
Oh,
The daring man.
very good, sir. You as
Wunderbar.
Is you as confident as your friends, young man?
I'm not as confident, but I am quite firmly attached to both of my ears. I'm sure it'll be fine.
And they firmly attached to you, sir. He busies himself. First, he pours the glass of red for you, Tony, and then for Rudi and Gaston, there's a little performance. Brings out small little glasses, like little mini wine glass type things, and with a spoon with sugar on, which he heats briefly. They say of absinthe that it always looks like drugs are being prepared, with the spoon and the sugar and a heating, and he leaves the hot spoon with the sugar next to the glass that you can stir yourselves if you so wish, and he serves the 3 drinks to the 3 of you. I believe I hear that the 3 of you, sirs, are waiting for a friend this afternoon, sirs.
But yes, it's Herr Henry Canard.
Ah, the Egyptologist. For
You
someone
know
like
him.
he's the guest of honor at a big awards evening. It's been advertised in the local newspapers. There's been lots of big news in Austria recently, but
Yes, Ringside Rituals has reached the local publishers here as well by now.
oh yes, that too, sir. But fighting for those headlines is indeed Herr Canard's big night coming up. I believe at the weekends. And he's your guest. That's incredible to have Herr Canard and the great Rudi Otto in Cafe Kaufmann at the same time is wonderful. And these 2 friends of yours also.
You know what? I like you, my friend. What's your name?
Oh, sir, it's almost embarrassing to tell you my name. So it's an embarrassing name. I was named after the family dog, sir. My name is Tony, sir.
Rudi laughs. Rudi laughs. Well, you know what? I will sign your copy of Ringside Rituals, dear Tony. And he signs it, but looks at Tony Guerrero and says, "To my dear Tony," and makes a little scrabble of a heart, but with a paw inside as well.
Nice.
Oh, thank you, sir. I will cherish this book.
Ah, yes.
Now please enjoy your drinks. If you've not had absinthe before, it's recommended you take it with sugar. For the hardy, some like a sip of the half nature first before the sugar.
Very well done.
And he goes and so he's polishing his glasses and doing whatever barmen do, chopping some lemons. I don't know. You're there for just 3 or 4 minutes when the door clangs again, and you hear from across the room, "My friends, Rudi Otto, Tony Guerrero, thank you for joining me." And as you turn, it is the figure you recognise of Monsieur Henri Canard, present with his arms held almost wide open in excitement.
Ah, Henry, willkommen.
Does he look like he did sort of 3 years ago?
You would have seen him at the symposium he spoke first night of the symposium.
Okay.
And so
I told you we've seen him before, since then. Yeah.
So he looks exactly like he did then.
Okay.
He looks different to being on the train because he's not tied up with a gag and looking drugged out. Yeah.
Lovely to see you, monsieur.
Oh, lovely to see you too, monsieur. I trust things have been well, especially well for some of us. He looks at Rudi's slightly more rotund, sunburnt frame.
Ah, yes. You probably read already ringside rituals, haven't you?
Oh, it's. I haven't been able to put it down, sir. Both of you,
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So happy to have you both back with me. Ah, so many adventures we've been on, haven't we? He's saying it quite loud,
Yes.
almost as if to get clout from, to if people are quite interested. He's sort of excited by it all.
Right. He wants a bit of reflected glory, does he?
Yeah, but they know who he is, but to be part of exciting adventures as well, in his
Yeah.
in his time of glory.
Have you met our newest colleague and friend, Gaston de la Rue?
I have not. The pleasure is all mine, Monsieur. What part of France are you from?
Gaston will stand up out of his chair. No. Please, it's my pleasure. I'm from San Quentin.
Are you one of the Delarues, the vintners, the winemakers?
I am indeed the very same.
Ah, a tragedy when my commiserations, I'm sure it was long ago, of course, but my commiserations to the fall of your wine empire in the Great War. You produced some truly splendid wines.
We still have a select few bottles, but nothing special. I'm afraid.
Wow.
But my apologies. I seem to have taken your seat. It's taking the opportunity to catch up with some dear friends.
Nonsense. Any friend of my fellow heroes, Tony and Rudi, is a friend of mine. True, you weren't there on the train on the Vienna Express when Tony, Rudi, and I defeated the cultists of Artemis, but you're here now, and please, I've booked us a table, and it would not take much effort at all for an extra chair to be added for the afternoon. Please, would you join us?
I would be honoured. I've heard.
Of course you would, of
Monsieur
course.
Rudi speak many a time of your heroics.
Yes, and don't you worry about his family's wine empire when that young man is building his own journalist name from himself. He's writing a very interesting article about that missing pilot, and we are partaking in absinthe. You should join us. It's a drink for artists and people of the spirit like you and I.
Oh, I tell you what, this is a week for celebration. I truly believe this will be one of the greatest weeks and weekends that we will ever know. Of course, barman, please, another absinthe, and then a round of coffees to take to the table.
And an early toast before we head to the table, then, to the greatest weekend of our lives, Proust.
Ah, salut. That's some good absinthe drinking role playing there. Monsieur Canard takes a sip of his, grimaces a little, and then one of the waiters appears by your shoulder, Tony, and says, "Gentlemen, please follow me. We have a table booked for you right now." And he leads you across two, and I'm going to just duplicate one so you can see where it is. Let's paste a duplicate. That's what we need to do. Now let's move it in. Oh, where is it? Where's that cheeky little? There it is. Your table that he leads you to is going to be right there, if you can see where it is, by the window. A fine table.
Very
That's
nice.
fine, table.
Please, sirs, if you would all take a seat, And as he's saying that, another waiter comes over with the coffees and places them down in the 3 seats and then in the space. And then another waiter appears as if by magic with another chair that he's taken from another empty table and pushes it in. Pulls out the table a little bit to make sure there's space and offers the 4 of you seats. Now, it's up to you where you sit. Imagine it looking at that table as a 12 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, a 6 o'clock, and a 9 o'clock. So a 12 would have their back to the doors going out to the outside seating area. A 3 would have their back to the room. A 6 would have their back to all around by sort of the toilets. And a 9 would have their back to the outside.
Which side's the river?
To the 9 o'clock. So the outdoor seating looks out to the river from as you're in. The outdoor seating has a small fence around it. It's sort of decking-y to make it obvious. And then you're probably looking at about not far, maybe 10 meters down to the bank, and then there's a jetty.
Okay, so effectively off the left of the map.
Yes.
Then in that case, I will pick the sort of 3 o'clock position, if I may, and focus on being able to see the water.
9 o'clock for me.
Monsieur Canard still is off. He's still offering the 3 of you. He's happy to let you sit where you wish.
Very kind of you, sir. Gaston will sit at the 12.
And Monsieur Canard will sit down the bottom at the 6.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, very good, sirs. Please, it is a long afternoon, and Cafe Kaufmann is famous for its coffee, among other things. But it is afternoon, and I didn't feel like I could order us all schnitzels as a starter. So please, let us sit, enjoy a coffee, and start to get reacquainted.
Yes, absolutely. Coffee sounds excellent. So what have you been up to the last 3 years? Obviously, your fame has spread still further.
Well, you're so kind. Ever since the trip on the Vienna Express, and he lowers his voice a little bit now that it's the 4 of you talking more candidly.
Mm-hmm.
He says, and my rescue, which I'm always in your debt for. Of course, it took me a few months to fully recover. Monsieur Otto, I hear that you also spent some recovery time after your physical heroics, leaping from the train with an enemy in hand. But for me, it was more mental anguish and recovery. I'd been heavily dosed up on whatever drugs they gave me to keep me calm, and it took a little bit of time physically and emotionally and mentally to recover. But after that, I redoubled my efforts. I poured more into the cults and the history of Egypt, and have attempted to make myself the most learned man in the topic in Western Europe.
Well, obviously, this is an area that interests us as well. Egyptology, archaeology. So, what news have you recently uncovered? What is your most recent, most exciting discovery? Perhaps something that you wouldn't yet feel comfortable delivering a public speech about.
Excellent question.
That is an excellent question, Monsieur Guerrero. He shuffles in a little bit closer. We're going into some conversation, so I don't know if you'd like to know whether there's some people around the room, whether it's important or not. I think it might be nice to say.
Yeah. Okay.
So in this outside, 3 of the tables have people sat at. The one round the corner by the bar, on the outside, it's a bit of a quiet table, so people pick it, although it doesn't have the best view. It's a nice, quiet outside table.
Right.
one by the glass wall, not next to you, but down near the bottom,
Yep.
and one of the tables on the edge looking out closer to the Danube.
Okay.
The rest of the tables, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 11 other tables inside, and 5 of them have people. Neither of the 2 nearest you, and the others are scattered. But it means that as you talk, there is no one directly in earshot, as long as you keep your voices
Okay.
a general chatter or below.
Sure. But I mean, obviously, if we were to shout, lots of people would hear us.
Oh yeah, if anyone raised their voice in a if Rudi had a bit of an moment, then
Aha!
You got me, yeah.
Yeah.
Rudi is not a man known for his so subtleness when it comes to talking. He's a rather thunderous voice, but he gets into the mood, looks left and right, and leans forward. But yeah, no promises for Noah has. We shall see.
Well, messieurs, I have been researching something for the last couple of years, very much since my recovery from the train. I first heard word of it when I was recuperating, but buried it for a few months as I was busy with other things. I finally, in the last few months, come into the possession of a trinket. I think it's Egyptian, and many people would look over it with feigned interest. Sirs, neither of you would see fit to put it in one of your museums, of course. Yes, it has some ancient historical interest, but it's nothing of value. He reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a crumpled piece of paper, which he leans in and sort of encourages the 3 of you to lean in somewhat over the table, if you would. And he slowly opens it, and it's a pencil sketch of what looks like quite an unassuming Egyptian piece. It's hard to tell what colour it is, but it looks like maybe a piece of jewellery or something like that. More of a necklace than anything, but without the chain, just a...
Okay. So like a pendant or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Rudi takes out of his crocodile vest his occult notepad. Maybe it's time to like sketch it or see if there is anything that reminds me of that thing. Also, or of historical, because he's with history +2. I guess he would have studied Egyptian history as well.
In
So,
fact,
do I recognize it in any shape or form?
In fact, I'm going to let Gaston know. This is not Gaston's wheelhouse at all. And I think Ewan would agree. Rudi and Tony. Rudi, you can look towards your occult skills or your historical skills, which are the same.
It's the same.
But you can choose which.
Now I'm
But you can change.
symmetrical.
But you can choose which angle you're coming from for storyline reasons, if nothing else.
Because he opened his occult notebook, his first instinct would have been his that route for starters, at least. So let's go with occult
and Tony,
education.
And Tony, could you roll your education with your...
It's already 5.
With your history, Tony.
Yes, I can indeed.
What have
That's
you got?
A total of 11. That's like a critical success for me.
That is a big success for Rudi.
That's a total of 10 for me.
Oh, nice follow-up.
Tell them everything.
Your main business.
We own this man's entire life story in secret.
Adventure over. They've solved it.
The 2 of you do indeed recognise it. It is a pendant shape that is round. That appears to have. You both know historically it was meant to be something that travellers in Egypt would use to find their place, like an early. I wouldn't say compass. What's the thing that? Sorry, I forget. What's the thing that sailors use to check the stars?
Sextant.
The sextant.
Sextant, yeah.
Sextant, like a mix between like a sextant and a compass. It's very rudimentary in that there'd be a hole in it that you'd sort of line something up with a certain star through it
Yeah.
as you looked, and then you'd another couple of holes that you could line some things up so that you knew what direction you were traveling in. So it was something that wasn't necessarily well known about in common circles. You'd have to know your thing. It's a bit myth. There's an air of myth about it, but the two of you with open minds have heard of it and looked into it somewhat. But like I say, it's always shrouded in slight mysticism, I guess.
Where's the mysticism coming from? I mean, is this like a device of the era?
Yes, but
What's so mystical about it?
there's no in any professional, in any sort of official historical research, it's never really been seen before, or it's only ever been talked about. It's been theorized more than anything. There's been a few half pieces, broken pieces found, but most researchers would just say it's costume jewelry. Those that have that deeper bit of history, maybe dabbling in the occultish edge, would say there's a certain power to it of finding where you need to go, finding lost things, there's almost like a power to where it might drag you. No one's ever really had one to use it, but
Is it is it Egyptian in nature?
yes, that is Egyptian. Yeah,
Origin, I mean.
yeah,
And
yeah.
is there a particular god, deity, Egyptian deity that is tied to it, or finding your way in general?
That is a very good question. Let me just double check.
Like maybe someone, maybe of knowledge or of travel or of.
Yeah, it'd be Khonshu. So Khonsu.
Khonsu.
Onsu, who is the god of, it means traveler.
He says he does whisper as much as he can. A man of his size and stature says, "Oh, Monsieur Canard, Khonshu blessings sends their blessings to you. That is quite a trinket of an era long bygone that you have in your hands. In fact, one that many speculate is subject of fable and myth and legend instead of an actual historical object. I'm quite impressed and also curious where you have found it."
Well, messieurs, it has taken some travel. I managed to. I was tipped off to a few collectors around North Africa and Europe. A few were just dead ends. A few were just after money for relatively modern recreations of things that they'd heard. Some I could tell immediately were not. They'd painted a telescope gold, for example, and pretended it was Egyptian. Easily poo-pooed, as it were. But finally, I found one, and I procured it. I'm not proud in how I procured it, but the important thing is that I have it. It is safe on my person, and it's I I completed the sketch of it yesterday to show the two of you.
It is good work. It's a beautiful sketch.
It's a beautiful piece. like I say, those that don't understand it would just see it as an interesting piece and put it in a cabinet with another 30 small Egyptian trinkets, which would be a shame.
Wait, is that a sketch or an actual
Yeah,
item?
it's got a sketch, but he said he's got it with him.
Oh, he only saw it as a sketch. I
Yeah.
shouldn't be that much of impressed then.
Right. It's a good sketch.
You have the piece on your person, you say?
I do. The thing is, messieurs, I am slow to remove it in public.
Understandable.
It's- I I it is difficult. I've part of the reason I've invited you this afternoon, as well as to talk about our times together, is yeah, to get your thoughts and opinions as trusted and famous specialists in such matters. He gives you a reverential nod, of course, as learned men. But ever since I've been hunting down this piece, I've been call me paranoid, but I feel I've been followed by suspicious individuals, always out the corner of my eye, shadowy figures that I can't quite see. If I turn to look, they're gone. When I'm walking down the street, hairs on the back of my neck rise up. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that at all.
More often than you might think.
I concur, and also my experience has taught me that these things are seldom and rarely paranoia, but in fact an observant eye, which instinctively realizes when danger is near. Are you sensing it now? Perhaps he takes a look around in the cafeteria.
As you look around, let's all roll. You can all roll an education, please. Yeah, let's go on education.
Mm-hmm.
No luck. He's looking around, but he's thinking already of something, and he continues talking to himself and says, "We did come across a very rude man who ruined a copy of Ringside Rituals and the trousers of our dear Tony here by the name of Felix. I suspect she must be involved in some vagabondy business, one way or another."
I ended up with a 6 total.
And what colour are your trousers, Tony? Apart from red.
They tragically were tan. Today's.
Oh,
Thanks for the sub.
Sarks. Thank you so much.
No,
We
Sarks.
appreciate you,
Thank
Sarks.
you.
Thank you. That will help towards our Christmas do as well that we need to organise. Yes. This man, he may well be Monsieur Otto and Monsieur Guerrero. Your trousers truly look terrible. And my commiserations. He may be, but what did you roll? 6, Tony. Gaston, what did you roll?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've got 7.
So, Rudi, did you want to roll as well? Education, please.
I did. It was 4 total. That's why I
4
said.
total. I see. Oh, that's why you didn't see. As you say it, the three of you can't help but look around. There's people there. You can't. Are they listening? Are they eating? You know what I mean? Some are reading newspapers, but they could be listening in. They could just be reading the newspaper. One of them has got up and wandered over and appears to be looking at a painting nearby. But maybe they're just a fan of art.
What? Sorry, Luke. What?
No.
general selection of the newspapers being read, or the type? Doesn't have to be exact.
A mixture of relatively centrist papers, a couple of leftist. It's quite an arty place, but there is a couple of there's a German publication and one more right wing, which, from what you can tell, is proclaiming the Führer's desire to join Austria back under as part of the German land. If Monsieur Canada sort of looks at you, the three of you, as you'll sort of start looking around at things, he says, most worryingly of all, my friends, it does feel that since I've been in Vienna, I thought that coming to Vienna, maybe I could get away. Maybe it's just people in my local vicinities, suspicious areas I'm being in. But even here in Vienna, such a jewel of a city, I can't help but shake. I'm sure I've seen some that I feel like I've been followed since I've arrived in Vienna also.
We haven't. I mean, we didn't roll that well, so we haven't spotted anyone suspicious or looking at him over, like from around the room. Obviously, I'm also facing out the window, so.
Yeah, you've not taken the best spot for that. The one who would have taken the best spot is Rudi, but Rudi was so caught up in the conversation that he's barely. He's thinking more about his book than the situation as it stands. Now, my friends, there is an interesting wrinkle to this tale, if you would humour me. For this trinket does not stand alone, as it were.
It does not.
It's the myth, the legend is, of course, that the believers of Khonshu would use it to travel around to find places they need to be. They would maybe pray, and it would lead them to where they needed to be or to an item. But there are other ancient civilizations with similar trinkets. And my dear friends, I've been working with 3 other collectors and ancient specialists who have found similar trinkets from ancient Greece, Rome, and Persia.
Okay. When you say ancient Greece, Rome, and Persia, what eras are we talking about?
We are talking, and I've got this written down. Bear with me. I've got to go to an actual note now.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I knew you'd ask this question, and now I've got to flip back through my note that I made earlier. I should have put it on my thing. It's the bit where they all intersect. Hang on a second, bear with me. It's that bit. There it is. It is around 400 BC.
Okay. For all 3, about 400.
Yes, they were all from around a similar place. It's where all the it's where Greece, Persia, and Rome all intersected as real powerful civilizations at the time. It was early Rome, of course, but
yeah, but
early Rome, I guess. Yeah,
early city-state Rome, and
yeah.
I mean we're not that far off, Battle of Marathon kind of time, are we? So, okay, yeah. All right. So these are what you might call high classical Greece, high classical Achaemenid Persia, something like that, or Median Persia,
very peak Persia,
and early Rome. Yeah. Okay. And the Egyptian artifact, is that about the same era?
It is said, of course, Egypt has spreads across a vast amount of time,
Mm.
and there are different similar trinkets. It is said, of course, I've not seen them with my own eyes, but it is said there's been a whole range across the time. But this one is believed to date from that time.
Okay. That is very interesting. That is very interesting indeed. They all look similar, but different designs because they come from different cultures.
They're all believed to have the same, play the same role. It's to lead.
What was the? Sorry, continue.
To lead the believers, the travelers, to things that they, places they need to be, things they have lost. Maybe they would pray to their god to help them find, and they would use this trinket to help.
Perhaps instead of Khonsu, the Greek ones would be Hermes and something like it.
Yeah, you got the idea. Yeah. I can tell you exactly who it is. Hang on, sorry, let me find my note. Yeah, it would be Hermes for the Greek, for sure. And it would be
Mercury for the
Mercury for the Romans. It was Hermes, Mercury, and it would be
For the Persian, yeah.
Persian Arahita. So Anahita, ANA.
Okay, got it.
HITA.
Right.
Now, you understand, my friends, that I have very little. Yes, every now. It is. I have very little knowledge of those three. Of course, I have more than a passing knowledge, but my knowledge is nothing compared to others in the field. So I have been working with 3 other collectors and ancient specialists who have found the similar trinkets from them over the last few years. We have reached out together, and we have agreed this week to meet this week in Vienna with all the trinkets together.
Who are the other experts?
There is a young Englishman who is the specialist in Greece, beyond his years. He very sad tale. He never knew his father. He poured his whole life into research. His name is Rufus Hightower.
That is very sad. Yeah, how awful for the man.
I believe his father was he says his father was a military man.
That's definitely one way of putting it. Yeah.
There's a Russian historian and former World War I soldier, specialist in Roman history now. Her name is Anna Zhukov.
Anna Zhukov, okay.
And the Persian specialist, he was the first to reach out. I met him at a big meeting in Scandinavia. A Swedish gentleman, an archaeologist. His name's Lars Persson.
Lars, what was the surname? Sorry.
Persson, Persson. Persson. Oh, Socks could have changed everything then with the NPC name. And there was a 5th.
Jean-Luc Batiman load. Okay. Are these Are these people local? Are they in town?
They are. They are. They have all. We have all rented a room or a hotel in Vienna, all by the Danube.
One room.
No, they're separate rooms. To have one room together with, they have all spoken of these suspicious characters following them.
It wouldn't be
shadows.
very appropriate for Anna, my dear Gaston.
Uh, Monsieur Gaston, maybe I've misjudged you. You're not the sort of man that would see such thing as appropriate.
No, no, certainly not. But you said it, and I had to ask.
Well, you do have a
Like
French spirit
like a
after
true
all.
journalist.
It's, the well, the most interesting things of all, sirs, is this, my dear friends, my dear gentlemen, is that as the four of us have exchanged communications, have managed to meet a few times in quiet rooms, we believe that the four trinkets, we've not had them all together at the same time, but looking at sketches and descriptions, we believe that the four could all combine together in some way for a far more powerful purpose. And that's where we're taking a break. So we're all going to shoot off. Yeah, just like Vulture, just like the Power Rangers. They'll hold them up. We'll be back in 5 minutes for another 45-minute jaunt or so. So please, everyone, go fill your glasses, go to the loo, whatever you need to do. And we'll be back for more Tony and Rudi very shortly. Once I can get the intro going. I think that's it. That stupid red circle's there. There it is. It's gone.
That's all right.
Toodaloo, everyone. Hi all, we're back. We might not be totally ready, but John said we had to come back because the cat's with him, and it's a perfect time. He knows his audience. A marble-hewn Greek god with a cat upon him. If that doesn't get likes and follows, I don't know what will. See, yeah. Why don't you tell us about your before we start back up again, John? Why don't you tell us about your fantastic stream channel?
Oh yeah, Legitimate Games at twitch.tv/Legitimate. I stream every Mondays about my game Metanthropes, and I think by the end of this month or beginning of December, we're gonna start streaming sessions as well. Sessions of my game in the form of one shots and meta arena, like action-packed, high-octane scenarios. And of course, you will be among my first players. Of course, there's no question about it.
That would be nice.
That is super cool. Definitely.
That's a responsibility. That is. It would be an absolute honour.
It will.
To do that, John.
We've played Metanthropes more than once, and it is enormous fun, and it's going to be a joy to be part of the launch of the game.
Oh, it's going to be good. Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't already, there's the link. It's been added by Ben. Thank you. Click on, follow him, and then tune in on of an evening. It's 8 p.m. our time, I think. I think it's 8 till 9 UK time. I think 9 till 10, 8 till 9.
That's about right.
Yeah. I always catch the last 15 minutes because I'm putting the kids to bed. But I enjoy the last 15 minutes. They're very strong 15 minutes of any stream. Still worth tuning in, even if you're that late. But Socks would recommend you join from the start because she can do that sort of thing. So here we are at Cafe Kaufman. Rudi, Tony, Gaston, Gaston and Monsieur Canard sat at a table where he has just revealed to them the secrets of what he's been up to for the last couple of years, hunting down a strange Egyptian trinket that might have more power than is first believed. What does it? Who knows? It's just words of a rambling old man.
Well, it's no doubt exciting archaeology.
It's true. He's sort of middle-aged, Rudi. I know Rudi himself is in his 50s, I think. So he sees everyone as a young man these days.
Well, if we're back, Rudi would like to inquire him again. Tell me, dear Henry, did you say that you and your colleagues both, all of you had this suspicion that you're being followed?
Yes, very much so. Very much so, my friends. We would all say when we met that it would always be just figures at a distance, round corners. We would look, and then it would just be shadows that we would see. Maybe we all reported that we would maybe see the same person a few times in the same week. Which, yeah, I know in some ways that could be seen as a normal thing if you take the same routes everywhere. But I would purposefully take different routes to where I was going and would still see the same person a few times.
I think that completely scratches out the possibility of a coincidence between all 4 or 5 of you. Tell me about the description of the man you seem to be finding.
First, could you all roll an education, please?
Yes.
That's a total of 6.
Mine's a 4.
6.
As you're talking, a group of 3 men enter the bar. They're welcomed by a waiter. They come and sit at the table. If you look where yours is, Can you see where it says store? That's the.
Yep.
There's 3 rooms that can be entered. There's 2
Mhm.
toilets, WC, and then there's sort of a storeroom, and they're
Mhm.
sat at the table just above that now. They
Mhm.
sit and they're sort of chatting. They put glances over to you, but they're also glancing around other places. One of the couples that is outside has moved seats. The ones that were to the bottom
Mhm.
have moved up to the other side of the window near you. But
Okay.
but a shadow has come over. We're into the afternoon. The shadow has changed, and maybe they're chasing the sun.
Mhm.
There's a couple of there's a gentleman who was sat alone in the right at the bottom table inside, who seems to have got up and gone to the toilet 5 minutes ago and has not yet returned. But he's not left the cafe. Monsieur Canard thinks briefly. Well, Rudi, it's if I may call you Rudi.
I think it's quite fine, Henry.
Fantastic. It's hard to say. Often the figures are in shadows, and often they're of an average build. There's nothing that stands out. There is not one with a wooden leg or a hook hand. There's none with a mysterious eye patch or a big scar upon his or her face. There is none that is a giant and none that is a midget. They are they are but men, it seems. But there feels an aura, especially of an evening. If I look outside my window and see figures passing by at night, it's hard to put a finger on, messieurs. I don't know if you understand that.
But you did describe a particular man that you find all the time.
He is one of them is. I just need to roll for how well he can. Okay. One of them is of a that I saw a few times that I could place exactly. Was of a young age, of 20s, mid-20s. Uh, he was a strong-looking individual, quite tall, maybe 5'10", and would always had his eyes were. I couldn't describe it. They were piercing, but I could not. It's strange. I could not describe you the color nor the shape, but they were piercing.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Well, one thing is for certain: when all 3 of us are gathered together, people die. So be on your guard, Henry. Oh. And he slaps him on his back.
Henry raises a hand
Gaston's been.
to gather over. Sorry, as Gaston does that, he just waves over a hand to bring over the waiter. As Gaston, that's what he does.
He's just writing down the description in his notepad, just for future reference.
The waiter
Yes,
approaches as you're talking.
and before he approaches, sorry,
Yep.
I think by now Rudi would have made a copy of the sketch Henry has to his own personal lore book, lore notebook, and then he puts it back into his crocodile vest.
Yep. So Rudi copies the sketch to book. Gaston notes. Yep.
The 3 men who entered the cafe.
Mm.
You say they're reasonably young.
You can see 2 of them. You've never caught the third one, and one of them has his back to you. But the 2 you've seen, relatively young. You would place them at mid-20s to early 30s.
Okay. Without being silly about it, we'll have spent a lot of time in the last few years around people of a military background. Do they look like they might have that bearing about them?
Could you roll for me education, please?
Mhm.
Yeah. Where's everyone? Let me just double check something before I let anyone else do it. Gaston, you can roll too because you are positioned looking down from 12 o'clock on the table. So you've had the best view without having to turn your head. So you can also roll an education on it, please.
Mine's a total of 7.
Mine is a 4.
Good work, Gaston.
Consistent. Consistent.
There are 3 people at the table, Gaston, and one has their back to you. It's hard to tell, Tony. They would be. There's something of them that suggests they're not waifs of artists. That maybe they could be military, or they could be something athletic, or they could be something of performance. Like even male ballet dancers, for example, are quite muscular. There's a strength to them. So
Okay. Well, I'm concerned that I mean, I have a view sort of over my left shoulder, but it's at a tight angle. The couple outside the window. They're relatively young, relatively fit looking.
So again, Rudi can't see them at all unless he wants to make a scene of turning round. But for you, Tony, who has the perfect view, and you, Gaston, they're very close to you. Could you both roll an education, please?
Yes. Probably not well, but yeah.
Mm.
Oh no, that's okay. That's a 9 total.
7 for me.
Rudi will certainly pay notice to his colleagues looking around at the cafeteria. But yeah, do tell the results, but he will ask them about it for certain.
Gaston's obviously trying to be a bit surreptitious still, so doesn't take a full look. Tony, they look like a couple in their early 40s. They could be husband and wife. They could be lovers, but it's a male and female who seem to be. There's a little bit of hand touching, not too much because of the era, but they're sort of enjoying a drink and a slice of chocolate cake together.
Okay.
Sorry, before you do that, the barman, because he's there. I want to.
Yeah,
Tony.
Tony
The barman.
Tony, the waiter comes over and says, "Yes, sirs. Beers, wines. We have apple strudel. We have chocolate cake, apricot pastries. Anything that I can help you with?" Monsieur Canard orders a red wine and a slice of chocolate cake and looks at the 3 of you.
Yes, I will have another glass of wine, please.
Yes, it's time to have a sweet. One more glass of absinthe for me, please.
Very good, sir. Very good. And you, young man?
with extra sugar.
Extra sugar. Ah, of course. You must be a German. You must be a German, sir.
German born.
Yes.
For me, the strudel and another coffee.
Ah, very good. Very good. He turns his back to go. Could you all please roll? Education, please.
Yes.
Woo! 8.
7. Sorry, 7 for me.
7 for Tony, 8 for Rudi.
Mine's 5.
Gaston, Tony, you're just thinking about your upcoming drinks, and Tony, you're a bit focused on the couple out the window, of course. Rudi, the waiters, the way his shirt and waistcoat is sort of tucked into the back of his trousers looks a bit strange, like there's something stashed in there, shoved into the back of his trouser as he walks away.
Maybe what, like a hidden firearm?
Maybe there's something that's shoved down there from what you can tell. You wouldn't be able to place it, but what someone would shove down the back of their trousers is anyone's business.
Well, gentlemen, I see you looking around at the cafeteria's customers quite suspiciously, but in fact, the first time that all of 3 of us, he includes Henry, not Gaston, were caught up in a situation. It was the stuff that were the ones that we should have been looking for. These damned cults of gods of the Antiquities era to infiltrate the stuff, the finest premises quite well. Have you noticed anything but strange about our waiter? I think he was. I can't really tell, but I think I saw something. We should be quite alarmed. Maybe I shouldn't have ordered the second absinthe.
I tend to agree, Rudi. I think we are increasingly surrounded, and by people who may wish us harm. And there is every chance Henri will not survive this.
Monsieur Canard nods before you say anything. Says, "Well, if I may not, I must face it with an empty bladder. Please, if you excuse me, I'm just while the drinks are being bought, I need the toilet." And he gets up.
No. Wait. He grabs him by the hand. I think we have been through this before, Tony and I. If we both have this instinct that something is not going well, I think we shouldn't let you alone. Perhaps we should all pay and leave now that there is time.
Yeah, it's time to go. We'll find you somewhere to go to the loo later, but we have to leave
Yes,
together now.
you can. I'm pretty sure you can hold it. It's time to leave, gentlemen.
Yeah,
And if you can't, at least Tony's trousers will match yours.
there is that.
It's my treat because Tony, I've ruined your trousers. Actually, it is Felix's fault. But
Yes.
since he's not a man of honor, he's not here, I will pay. He drops with quite a big tip, some money on the table, and then escorts. It's time to escort Henry out of here.
Okay. Rudi, could you roll an agility for me, please?
Agility, not my forte. That's a 6 total.
As you start to lead him out, as you sort of walk past the bar towards the coats and the door and so on, you're walking past the bar and you bump into the barman, Tony. I'm going to call him Tony number 1. And Tony number 1 is carrying a tray of drinks, and he manages to hold it. He's like, "Oh, sir, sorry, I nearly spilt it. You're not leaving, are you, sirs? We were bringing chocolate cake and drinks to your table. Why are you in a hurry?"
Yes. There is a matter of academia and great urgence that we must attend. And he takes a sip from his absinthe. Now we must. I'm afraid that we must go. Wait, one more second, Tony. He takes a second sip. Now we can go.
But Barman Tony smiles and nods at you. Yes, as of course, as if you must go. But really, and Rudi, you feel something jabbing into the side of your ribs. And Barman Tony looks at you and says, "Really, sirs, you need to stay."
Oh, this
Are you
is going to go badly for everybody.
Are you happy to see me off, Tony, or are you suggesting that you're threatening my life with a firearm?
I know, Otto, that you are a heroic man, but even for you right now, this is bigger than you could ever imagine. Let me suggest that you and your friends, you may go, but her canard stays here.
Can I
Rudi,
hear this conversation whispered
Yeah,
so
yeah.
close that I can't hear?
The three of you can all hear it. Gaston, you can hear it.
Okay,
Tony,
cool.
you can hear it.
Tony, I've given you a copy of Ringside Rituals. Don't waste your life away, my son.
It does appear that you're also outnumbered.
Sock
I'm
Fiddler
not
asks,
convinced about that at all.
Sock Fiddler asks how many chapters are in the book and what are they called? I've added something.
I have quite a lot of information actually for you.
Let's just do one snippet. Make her pay for all the points.
10 chapters,
She's got
starting with Fists and Phantoms.
nice.
Barman Tony smiles, I guess, and he says, "You truly think that we would leave this to chance? Now, please, gentlemen, you three, you may leave. This doesn't concern you."
I'm going to
I'm
take
afraid
a look around
that's-
and see who is paying attention to this.
If
Good call.
Gaston and Tony, roll education for me, please. Rudy's a bit caught up with other Tony right now.
Yes.
he's going to be staring at the guy's eyes, but I
Rudy,
what's going on around.
please, my friend, if you have read chapter 1 of my book, Fists and
5.
Phantoms, you would have known. And also chapter 4, Punches from the Past, you would have known that you're about to make a grave error.
He smiles. So 5 for Tony. Gaston?
6 from me.
6. As Rudy and the other Tony are talking, the two of you are noticing there's a couple of people getting up and down. The man who's in the toilet seems to have returned. He's not returned to his table. He's come around the other side. It would make sense for him to come out of the toilet and go left, but instead he's gone round to the right and is coming back sort of past you to the toilet. The three people that were sat at the table, one has got up and has looked like he's wandered over to the bar past you. There's another couple of people that are paying attention to the situation but are currently sitting down still. Oh, I've got to make notes of people now.
Sorry, Luke.
Yes.
Not of immediate importance, but can you quickly flash back to your description of the outside seating area and specifically the bank and the Danube below, please?
Of course. So you've got two doorways out. You've got two doorways out to the outdoor seating. You've got the one that was below your table and the one that was above your table. It is probably about 6 meters across, and you've got a small wooden railing that runs round that's less than a metre tall. It's decorative more than anything. And from there's a little drop down, and you've got 10 metres across to the jetty there, which with a few boats sort of moored up and pootling past.
Okay, thanks. No reason.
No, of course, no reason.
Gaston is looking at Tony and Rudi at this point for some sort of. They are the heroes after all.
Oh, great.
Rudy is focused on Tony, Tony number one. And she did threaten him in a way. If I could roll something like, it's up to you, really. It wasn't. It was more like she liked Tony. That's why it's more of a please don't make a mistake rather than I will destroy you kind of a threat. So it might not be a threat, more like a warning.
We'll take a roll of charisma then. But it's going to be competed against. This is not you're opposing now because we're going into.
Can I advocate for adding boxing because I said punches from the past and fists and phantoms. Two boxing punts right there. I think it deserves to add my +2 boxing.
I'm not going to give you the +2. I'm not going to give you the +2 boxing because that's for the actual physical fight. I will make it an easier. I'll give it an easier.
Right. Okay. I tried my best. So my charisma is 3 + 2. That's only 5.
Okay. That Tony nods somewhat, and you feel a slight softening in the pushing against your ribs. And he says, "Sirs, we don't want to hurt you. We would just rather that the three of you weren't here right now. You're respected men. 2 of you are respected men, at least." And we would we don't want this to end in an unfortunate way.
I'm a well-travelled man. What accent does he have?
He sounds Austrian.
Okay. All right. This is going to go so badly wrong. I'm going to say to Henri, it looks like these two have some business to discuss. We should wait for them outside and try to shepherd Henri towards the door.
Okay, roll an agility for me, please.
Okay. This is a great stat for me.
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you daring do because
oh yeah, that's very daring.
Yeah, because you're trying something out, aren't you? So it's,
okay,
it's
so I get
possible
a
now.
+1, don't I? Yeah.
So it's possible now, at least, right?
Yeah,
unlikely. It's unlikely, but possible.
Oh, 8.
Nice.
To be fair, my last one was a 1, so that kind of balances out.
Exactly. I don't know if you manage.
It's a good one, though.
Are you heading him towards the main entrance?
Yeah. Well, what I was actually going to do, try to imagine this. We were sort of heading towards the sort of entrance out to the road.
Yes, I'm gonna move the red circle, which I think might be easier now. I'd say you were probably there if you wait for it to catch up. I don't know how far behind my push to the catch up is.
Okay, so what I was going to do was to essentially try and position myself so that I'm not exactly between him and the waiter and the other Tony, but certainly almost behind him, pushing him towards the exit, so that if Tony decides to try to stop him by grabbing him or something, he's going to kind of have to come around me a bit at least.
Mm-hmm.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that makes some sense. So Tony, as Rudi is conversing with Tony number one, you, Tony number two, managed to sort of start shepherding Monsieur Canard towards the door somewhat. At least you're trying to with your body in between. Whether it's going to be successful or not, for the moment, it appears that between the two of you, you've managed to move him a few meters away. Rudi's very much still in contact with other Tony. Gaston.
Is he still holding the drinks tray?
It appears he's put it down on the bar behind him when he started shoving whatever it was into the rib. But it's there. It's there. It's on the edge of the bar. It's only just.
Can Gaston? He'll reach over for his cup of coffee that he ordered and go to take a sip.
Nice. Could each of you roll an education, please, before Gaston makes his next step, and then we'll let Gaston take his next step. Education, everyone, please.
Roll an education.
Everyone roll an education, please.
Everyone roll an education.
Everyone roll an education.
Mine's a 5.
7.
That's a 9.
So, Gaston, you're very much focused on what you're doing at the minute. Rudi, you're very much focused on Tony number one, and that your friend Tony number two is easing Monsieur Canard away. Tony, you notice that as you start to move towards the door, the gentleman that had been in the toilet seems to have making his way around there as if to cut you off somewhat. That would be your educated guess from previous experiences.
So he's kind of cutting between the toilets and the kitchen.
He's past the edge of the kitchen. He's sort of making his way between the kitchen and the bar. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Gaston. Sorry. So Gaston was about to do something now that you've seen things. So I don't want to
go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. If there's anything you wish to do, I do have something.
I wish to marvel in awe at Gaston's brilliant plan.
I was excited by
wonderful.
The coffee. That's what I was excited by.
He takes a deep smell of the coffee aroma, and then he's gonna throw the hot coffee in Tony's face.
What, Tony number one or Tony number two?
Good question, Luke. I've been pondering this for some time. No, definitely Tony number one.
Okie dokie. Please roll an agility for me, please.
Oh.
And do you have a daring do? You don't.
It's
quite daring. It's quite daring.
Jack of all trades.
Can I do it in a seductive way?
The seductive way. Ooh.
Oh, that is good though. That's a 6 plus 4. It's a 10.
Straight into his retina.
Yeah, you do indeed thrust the coffee across. Rudi, you sense the flow of the coffee past your cheek, and you feel the warmth of it. It's so close to you, but you feel one little speck on your cheek. One gets caught in your grand moustache. But the vast majority of it splashes past you, and there's a pause, and there's a loud scream from Tony number one as the boiling hot black coffee splashes into his face, and you feel that pressure in your back eases as he reaches up to his face and starts screaming. My face!
And then Gaston whatever would get Rudi sort of away from push or pull, or just he's not going to be able to because it's Rudi, but try and just move him away.
I think that was Rudi's intention either way. Staying there would actually hurt this man a lot more than coffee. So he already saw Tony number two leaving with Henry. So Henry Canard, not Henry 2PP, just to make sure. And
Why would you want to take him with you?
and he's following Gaston and the others to the exit.
Perfect.
As Gaston and Rudi look to move Tony, you with Monsieur Canard do indeed come face to face with a man who stands in your way. He's a few meters away still, and he raises a revolver.
Okay, if I can, because I haven't done anything in this in my turn, let's say, so to speak. I think it's time to raise my record to an official. What is it now? 13-0, something like that.
That's it. Will
Well,
be. It will
You know
be.
what? You know what I think we will do, and this is how we will finish the session. I think let's have some combat. Could you all please roll for initiative? 1d6 plus your agility.
One.
Ooh,
Oh,
You
that's
sure
a
it can't
3
be a trait?
total.
That's a total of 6.
mine's a 9.
Oh, good.
Gaston 9, Tony 6, Rudi
3.
3. Our good friend Monsieur Canard. Okay, Monsieur Canard. That's and then.
Is it by any chance Pepe du Caca who's about to receive my punch?
Well, I wouldn't like to say. Okay, right. The first person to roll, the first person to act, to move in this situation, is one of the couple outside.
Yeah.
Ah, the slice of chocolate cake was so convincing.
The woman.
The cake is a lie.
It's all a lie.
I don't even like cake.
The woman stands up, knocking the table over the uneaten cake. It was all mimed. Goes flying to the ground, and
No.
to be fair, the man looks quite shocked. But she comes, she turns and she comes charging through the door to the north. As we look into the top, she won't make it to you, but she appears to be drawing something from inside her jacket, as it were, and she is on her way. Next person up is Gaston. Gaston, you are by now somewhere about where this red circle is, level along the bar. The people you know of as dangerous, I think we can say that Tony number 1 is out of action for now.
Mm-hmm.
He's sobbing in a hot mess. You know that the woman.
The coffee wasn't good.
Yeah, oh, very. The woman you know is just through the door to the behind you at the top, and there's a man between you and the road. They're the two people you know are probably up to no good.
Yeah. I'll tell you what Gaston would like to do and tell me when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Can he get in between the man and Mr. Canard?
It would be at what sort of pace?
He's quite happy to run at this point.
Yep, you can do that as a turn. You'll be able to get between the two. It's a good 5-6 meters across. You'll be able to get there on your turn. Stand between and make a thing of you. That would be your turn to do there. But you can do that.
He'll do that, but he'd like to face away from the man.
Back towards your posse.
Towards Henri.
Yep, you can do that very much so. That is your turn. The next to act is there is someone that you've not noticed before on a table just below you,
Mm-hmm.
as it were. So the one below the circle,
Yep.
there were two men. There was an older man and what had looked like a carer or a son. The carer or the son seems to be reaching into the elderly man's wheelchair and pulls out what appears to be a weapon and fires. You guys roll really badly on looking around the room, by the way. I'd like to point
Yeah,
out.
we absolutely sucked at that.
And he
Frankly,
takes
I blame how distraught I was over the trousers.
exactly. It went downhill.
Yeah.
It started low and went downhill from there. Really.
Yeah.
He pulls out and he takes aim at Tony number 2.
You don't have to decide which Tony. You don't want to give that a little bit more thought.
Now, in those dark places, you have the choice to dodge, but you do lose your next turn. But it makes it harder for them to hit.
He's within a range that next turn I could get to him, right?
He is at a range that would count as close range, so you could get to him next turn.
So, assuming I'm alive after this, I'd be able to charge him down next turn. You know, when it's my turn to move.
Yeah, you.
Then in that case, I'm not dodging. I'm not giving up my turn.
Okie dokie. Let's have a roll. Let's see what's that. He fires. The first gunshot. It's shocking. It rings out. This is not the sort of place that gunfire should happen. It's a lovely bohemian sort of cafe. Cafe Kaufman. It's famous
Austria
around these
in
parts.
1938 is not somewhere gunfire should happen.
Not in Cafe Kaufman.
Not in Cafe Kaufman. Okay.
And not for another couple of days at least. You know. There's a squeal from one of the ladies sat at the table. She has touch of the vapors or whatever. Ladies who squealed in the 1930s stereotypically had in bad films.
Yes.
Tony, you sort of freeze as the gun, and you have that moment where you start checking that all the parts of you are kind of okay, and that the red on the trousers is very much wine and not something worse.
Of course.
It does. You do feel a slight burning on your left arm. He has grazed you, and it will affect your use of your non-major arm.
Okay.
I would suggest.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm winged.
Yes. Could you take 1 damage? That goes against your strength, please.
My strength goes down by 1.
It does go down by 1.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I can.
You can, just about. Yes.
Just about.
Because and that makes sense because you've got less strength because you're down an arm.
You're not wrong.
Now, in that moment, the next person to act again is not you. Goodness knows how many people are in here. You hear some. You sort of hear movement in the kitchen, but you see nothing. At that point, that's all.
Okay.
That's what I give you there. The next person up is Tony number 2.
Okay. I'm going to leap towards the guy who just shot me.
Mm-hmm.
As I do, I'm going to yell to Henri, "Get out of here!" But this is literally as I'm flying through the air.
I like it. Very acrobatic.
Well, I've got to engage daring do somehow.
I was going to say very daring do.
Because agility and strength aren't going to do me any good. I am going to try to make this literally as simple as I can. This is not actually my forte, even before I was winged. So I am going to hurl myself bodily, as any good Italian rugby player would, and broadly speaking, try to hit that point that's about 3 feet the other side of his sternum
I
with my
gotcha.
shoulder.
Right.
And the fact
1d6.
that I have to go through him to get there is just going to be
Perfect.
a side effect.
1d6 plus your strength. Add your dare and do. It's I roll as well, and the loser loses a strength. So if you lose this, you are going to be unconscious.
Okay. Well, it's as good as I could realistically hope. That's a 5 plus 1 plus 1, so 7 total.
Ooh,
Uh,
nice.
That's not awful.
no, that's okay. That is going to beat him. He rolled a 3, and even with his stats, you have he's sort of fired, and you've caught him almost immediately, and you crash into him. You charge through him, and he crashes over into the table, which kind of crumples underneath him, and he smacks his head on the side of the wheelchair. Ironically, the older man with him lets out a cry as the man collapses down, seemingly unconscious, from what you can tell. A bit of blood coming out of the head, but it's not a deep wound. But he's not moving.
Okay. Now, obviously, I'm basically sprawled on top of him at this point, so
Yes.
I assume I won't have time to jump back to my feet.
No, that is your turn.
That is the
A
turn.
successful combat for you.
Hmm.
Your next, you said. So Monsieur Canard has not been able to move yet. He's not next in the. He's quite low down in the order. The next one is Rudi. In fact,
Uh-huh.
Ooh, we're so low. All right.
I know.
So who's right in front of me, trying to block my way?
You have got what you can see in front of you. There is a man halfway between you and the door, and between him there is Gaston. I don't know if Gaston's trying to block your way, but he's there.
He wouldn't dare.
No, he's doing a Sheringham back to the goal, just waiting for the pass.
Exactly.
Exactly, Ben.
Exactly that.
Then he will say, "You look like a man who should read my first chapter, Beasts and Phantoms. Yeah. Here's a signed copy for free. Six. 6 plus 2 plus 2 from boxing, that's a total of 10.
Okay, let me roll for
That's
him.
a 13 and 0 type of punch. Definitely worthy of celebrating
That
the
is
record.
He
that
beat me
is
to it.
that is good enough. He rolled a 6, but there's no way he's going to beat that because you've hit a Rudi Otto super duper. I'm invincible punch. The fist as you sort of dive past Gaston and your fist lands on the man's jaw, you see it dislocate. The bottom just swings sideways. There's that brief moment where the jaw goes, and then the rest of the head follows, and then the rest of the body follows.
He was gonna carrying a gun. I didn't just KO some random man, right? He had a gun, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He was halfway between you and the door. He might have just been going to get his coat, but you've just knocked him out. So.
No, you said something about the gun before.
Oh, not that guy. Not that guy. He's just standing in the way. No, he did. He raised the gun. He raised the gun. That guy. You're okay. He raised the gun to stop you. You can't just go around punching random patrons. Honestly, they'll never have you back.
I'll tell you, you go for the guy in the wheelchair, I'll bet you can make it 14.
The man crashes down. And you are indeed unofficially 13 and 0. Big
I
punch
think
from Rudi.
so.
He's unconscious and he's not moving again.
Nice.
As you stand over him, I like to think you're flexing in some kind of Apollo Creed kind of way. Next up is Monsieur Canard, who, sensing his chance, makes a run for the door. As the man is down, Gaston, you see him run past you. He makes it to the doorway, and he opens the doorway. It's looking good. He's made it. That's Monsieur Canard's go. However, next up, as Monsieur Canard makes it to the doorway, there's a figure in the doorway who, as Canard sort of looks back slightly thankfully and triumphantly at you guys, the guy grabs him by around the throat and like pulls him towards the doorway, and Monsieur Canard is struggling, and his arms and legs are kicking out as this man in the doorway. He's in his mid-30s with very piercing eyes.
About 5'10".
About 5'10", tall, 5'10". And Monsieur Canard has this moment as you see him fumbling in his pocket for something as he's being pulled away. He's sort of looking panicked. Gaston, Rudi, Tony, could you all roll education at this point, please? Even you, Tony, you've pulled yourself up in this time from the table. Could you each roll an education?
That's a 1, so a total of 4.
6 for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, mine is also a 1 for a total of 3.
None of you can tell what it is, but he's pulled something out of his pocket and sort of dropped it, sort of half kicked it into the corner at the top. You see where the doorway is? To that corner above it. He sort of drops and kicks something in.
Yep.
And he sort of looks knowingly at the three of you. And he's dragged out through the doorway. There is a sudden moment of silence as the woman with the that was sort of came around the corner sprints straight past the three of you towards that doorway.
Okay. As Tony picks himself up, he will pick up the handgun the guy shot at him. And not pointed at anyone in particular, because as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have an actual target now. No one that we know of as a threat. But he will keep it out for a second, but keep it close to a pocket so he can tuck it into a pocket if he needs to.
Oh, was that, sorry, the item?
The firearm.
The firearm, yep. You got it. Yep, cool. So Tony has the firearm. People have noticed that, but people are shocked at the minute. The ones that are still in here appear to not quite know what to think. I guess a couple are trying to like go back to what they were doing. One man sort of re-raises the newspaper as if nothing's happened at all. There's a bit of a coping mechanism, I guess. Tony 1 is sobbing by the bar. It looks like he's about to pass into unconsciousness from the pain. And yeah, it's suddenly gone quite quiet in there.
Gaston's heading towards the corner.
You see, there's an item in the corner, and it appears to be a smallish item wrapped in paper, from what you can tell.
Is the woman closer than him? Did she get there first?
The woman
was he
barged out of seems to have gone to the doorway and is sort of has a gun out and is sort of just pointing at everyone, but she's not really clocked you yet because she's looking more to the south. She started to look at the kitchen area. You've got to that corner before she's really swung on you. You've got a moment to grab something or whatever before she turns on you if you so wish.
As she's waving the gun around and holding the gun, Gaston will like classic get down to get out of the way of gunfire or show that he's not a threat, and he'll do it on top of the object and try and pocket it.
You. I'm not gonna make you roll it because you drop down on it. I've not got a problem with that. She spots you doing it. She spots you dropping down. She points the gun. It says, "You, get back. Get away from here. Away. Back into the cafe. Back. All of you, get back."
Okay. Calm down, and he'll stand up and hold his hands up in a very non-threatening manner. We just wanted to leave with our friend after our drinks and our pastries.
Roll a charisma with chat of all trades or seduction, depending on where you want.
Or seduction.
I mean, I'm no expert, but it didn't sound particularly seductive. So we go. It's a 4 + 5.
She nods at you. She says, "It's don't worry about your friend. Just go about the rest of your afternoon. We'll be gone soon. Back to your table. There's nothing for you to worry about. Just don't come to this door."
And he'll continue walking backwards, sort of glance over his shoulder towards Tony and Rudi. Mostly just to see what they're doing, or whether they're happy.
No,
Henri
I
is
think
their
I
acquaintance,
fancy
I
shooting her, to
suppose.
be honest. She's really annoying me now.
You want to take a shot? You want to take a shot at her?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I want to shoot her.
Well, 1d6 plus your agility, please. Plus, no, you've got stabbing skills. So 1d6 plus your agility, please.
Daring do?
No, it's not very daring, is it? Just to fire at someone that doesn't know you're firing at them.
True.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be good. That's a total of 6.
You take aim as best as you can because you're still pulling yourself up on the table, and as you fire at her, and maybe you're slightly off aim. Maybe it's the blood coursing through your veins. The whatever it is, you miss her. The great Tony Guerrero has missed. It thuds into the door frame behind her, and there's a moment that she spots you, and suddenly there's like this pause of a moment, and suddenly it's like 2 or 3 people in those tables by the above the kitchen.
Okay.
There's 3 of them that all stand up and point their weapons at you, Tony, and Rudi, and Gaston.
I think I'll lower the gun at this point.
We suggest the 3 of you go back and sit down. We will be gone soon.
What's going on with our dear friend Henry?
He is missing.
He's gone. He's been grabbed and taken.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I must be getting tired. I completely missed this.
That's all right. Yeah,
He's outside the door.
night.
He's been taken by some guy with piercing eyes who was standing outside the door waiting for him to run into his arms, basically. Yeah. Lower the weapon, nod, and walk, I suppose, backwards almost, so I don't turn my back on them. but walk back towards the table.
Gaston will join. He'll pick up the tray of drinks to take to the table there as they as they go.
Your table is empty. The chairs are welcoming as much as they can be when people have guns pointed at you. Gaston and Tony, if you're happy to sit down back at your table.
Yeah.
Rudi, they turn their guns to you, almost daring you to take them on or to join your friends.
Rudy's heart is beating loudly. Just knocked a person out. He's becoming filled with memories, and it's not easy to calm him down when he enters his boxing like style and stance and stuff like that. So, how many men are we talking about exactly pointing guns at him right now?
I reckon 4 people pointing guns.
He turns to them and says, "There are 4 more chapters. Haven't had the chance of describing just yet." Perhaps you should be added to chapter 9 under Ghosts in the Gloves. I want to threaten all 4 of them because I just knocked and dislocated the jaw, Well, might work.
You can certainly try. You can roll
Yes.
I
love certainly trying.
Roll a charisma. Roll a charisma. Or no, I'll tell you what. You can roll a charisma or strength. I'll give you a +1. But you've got to take on every single one of them.
Oh.
Charisma.
Go for it.
4 + 3, total of 7, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I have a bonus.
No, that's what you get. One of them looks nervous, but 3 stand firm. The strength of numbers, I guess. And
It was difficult.
It was a difficult one. It was. You managed to make one of them a bit nervous. They say to you, maybe you should follow your friend's example and sit back down at your table. We will be gone soon.
Nah, she's not biting it. He won't go anywhere.
So Rudi stays up at the bar, like standing where he was.
In fact, he will, if there is still some absinthe left, he will take his glass and cheer it to the one who is afraid out of the 4, and then one-shot it. Boom.
I like it. You know what? I like that a lot. I like that so much. That's where we're finishing for this evening.
That is really good.
Okay. That was excellent. Thank you, Luke.
Yes,
Thank
had
you.
laughs and fights and mysteries. I think it's a great new arc that we enter this time around.
That's very exciting.
It's all for you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone that watched it. Thank you, Socks. Thank you, all of you. I'm still here. I'm just putting something in a folder. We will see you all soon, I hope. Have a wonderful Sunday, everyone. And,
yes. Please do enjoy the rest of your weekend. And it is always a treat to play these games. This one is a particular treat because of John. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Yes, thank you, John. It's always an absolute pleasure.
It is.
Yes, it was my pleasure too.
And I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say when you want us to come and play Metanthropes on your channel, we will be literally standing in an orderly queue outside the door waiting.
100%.
Let's make it happen.
Lovely to hear that.
Nice one. Well, yeah, disorderly, very much so. Socks. I'll be in a disorderly queue. Right. I'll be sat at the bar drinking absinthe while the rest of you are in an orderly queue.
Yeah.
See you all later. Take care. Sleep well. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Love you all. Good night.
Good night.
One last cat.
Bye.